the security of a distribution center is very important because you want to assure that the quantity of items that are coming in for planned distribution actually arrive and actually are able to depart without a problem. There are several different positions and areas of concern with the distribution center. It starts with a security assessment to determine how is their perimeter fencing, how is their perimeter lighting, how are their gates, how are their gate controllers, what is their signage, how is the parking lot designed, how are the parking spaces labeled, how about the aerial and building lighting within and outside of the facility, how does that work and is it working? What are their policies on trespassing? What are their policies on weapons? Can you bring a handgun into the property? Can a contractor bring one in? What's the alarm protocol? What's the first aid protocol? What's their policy about safety and security? It all starts at the perimeter gate where the guard office may be, and imagine trucks pulling in one after another. Some of these trucks have product in them, and they use a aluminum or metallic seal, which is a strip of metal that is placed around the locking mechanism that is placed on there when the truck leaves the point of origin. So one of the security duties is when the truck arrives, the distribution center is to look and see if that seal is intact. If it is, then it has not been tampered with. That note would be made somewhere or electronically made, and then that driver manifest would be determined. What does he have? And where is it going? The scheduling people would already know, we want that truck in bay 12. So then our officer at the gate, and this could be happening simultaneously, multiple trucks arriving, will then say, okay, driver, go to gate number 8 or loading dock number 8, and they do. Here comes another truck, another truck, another truck. As they continue to populate the distribution center, that officer is giving them aid. Another officer may be very valuable in patrolling on a golf cart or in some method in a vehicle the perimeter and the inner perimeter of the distribution center. Does everything look okay? Any problems with these trucks that we don't know? Problems? Is there a fire? Did someone have an accident? Is there something going on that we need to be aware of? So your gate officer is supplemented by a patrol officer who's patrolling outside the building. A third spot may be a patrol officer who's patrolling or working an entry point into the facility, where you want to observe and control who comes inside physically. The truck drivers may come into a certain area to use the restroom or rest. However, who do they allow in? Where can they go? How deep can they go in? And what's the policy about that? So there's your third person. Now, it's time for the distribution center truck that delivered the product to leave. Here they come. They may or may not have product that's being redistributed, or they may leave empty. So if a truck is leaving with product, again, our security officer would go out, get the manifest from the driver, look at the seal, if there is one on the locking mechanism, and certify, yes, when they left here at 11:07 a.m., the seal was intact. Here's the manifest. That's the truck. We looked at it. They're gone. Or at 11:07 a.m., here comes this truck. Driver, raise your bed up. He does. He raises the door up. You look in. There's nothing there. You would note that and then move on. So I think that the risks that pose themselves at a distribution center could be from trespassers, or could be from someone who enters the property with the design or desire to interrupt the distribution of food products, or it could be medicine or anything. They want to stop that process. And being able to quickly and rapidly identify that and deal with it is very important.
How would a distribution center know the right security company to choose for them?
they should seek out and hire a licensed security provider consulting group that is licensed by the Texas Department of Public Safety, and carefully interview them and look at their client base, look at their reviews, and then ask questions. Ask for an in-person meeting. Ask for an analysis of what services they provide and what services they recommend. And perhaps a great relationship can be made to where the security officer does, in fact, provide outstanding service to reduce the risk, loss, and reputation impact of that client. We do it all the time. So if you're having policy issues or you're having staffing issues or the security provider that you have is ineffective or less than effective or not following your instructions that you want, time to look for another group. We'd love to talk to you. A policy is the position or the statement of fact about a certain topic by the employer. A policy may say it is against our policy for any employee to drink alcohol on our location or to come to work for their shift under the influence of alcohol. That could be an alcohol policy. It'll go further to say we reserve the right to drug test and substance abuse test and alcohol test our employees pre-employment, for cause if something happens, and at random. So having the policy sets the playing field for everyone. We wrote it, you read it, you had an opportunity to ask us questions about it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but we have you sign for it, that I have read and understood this policy, or the handgun policy, or the workplace violence policy, or the attendance policy, or the demeanor policy, or the many, many, many policies. But it's a deal that we're making between the employer and the employee, or many employees. We're going to make a deal. We want you to come here to work. And our side of the deal is we're going to give you a job and we're going to compensate you for what you do. Your part of the job is to come to work, do the job within the policy. And when there are departures from the policy on either side, conflict occurs. And that has to be worked out right away. But verbal instructions, customs and practices, we've always done it that way, it's no big deal, go ahead and do it, are weak and lead to problems. If it's written down and it's not a trick and we tell you about it, we give you an opportunity to ask questions about it, it's rooted in reasonableness, that's a good policy. And ultimately, that deal has to be in play for both sides or there is a conflict. Distribution center employees are not in the safety business. They're not in the security business. They are in the distribution business, which I am certain is complex, which I am certain mistakes are not good. So they're thinking about that. They have to think about employee safety because that's part of the policy that they agreed to with the employee, that we're going to have a safe environment. We're going to have air conditioner and lights and cement floors, and we're going to give you a break, and it's going to be comfortable for you. We are telling you that we're going to have a safe and functional environment for you to work in, because you're going to do your part of the contract and deliver what you are supposed to do in your duties. Now, all of a sudden, here comes the safety and security part of it. Well, it's very important to have preparations in place where you have a response to an event versus a reaction where everyone's running and screaming or just shuts down and doesn't know what to do. And it doesn't have to be active shooter. It could be a weather event. It could be a systemic power failure. It could be some type of workplace violence event. It could be a lot of different things. So your security policy, we would know in minutes by reviewing it if you're ready. We may make recommendations to add policy or to enhance policy or to amend a policy that may not be valid anymore. So that all starts with an assessment of your policy. But having a policy that is clear, easy to understand, the employee has been oriented to it, and there's been an opportunity to ask questions, and there's also been an opportunity to drill and practice that, if it's a mechanical operation, are valuable. When you hire new employees, same thing. You may have missed the annual training. Perhaps you have it on video. Perhaps you have other multimedia methods of giving them this orientation to safety. You must do it because the whole workforce needs to be educated about this and have the ability to prepare themselves for survivability. And if you don't do it, you run a very high risk of potential negative outcomes. It's my opinion the human aspect of having a trained, oriented, together officer there on site transcends supplemental things like access controls and cameras. They are valuable, but they supplement. They can't go respond to an event. They cannot discourage someone from doing something or stop them. They cannot predictively deal with something that may be approaching threat. They can supplement it, they can record it, but they have very limited abilities in that regard. There may be some deterrence effect of, look, there's a camera, I'm not going to put this in my pocket today, but the camera has no ability to enforce that. Only it is a deterrent or capturing the event, in fact, if it occurs. The security officer watching the camera or being aware of the camera objective, now you have a functional components together that are going to solve the problem. So technology, but it must be met and delivered by humans. And our company does a fantastic job of securing our clients' property and people.
What other things, distribution center specific, might centers not have in their policy that they could in order to have a robust policy?
Make sure to talk about how these external drivers or these external contractors are cleared before they enter your physical building. Because once they're in, they're in. Are they carrying a firearm? Are they carrying a prohibited item that you don't want them to have? Have you done any type of background on this person? Do you know if they're a fugitive from justice, or do you know if they are someone who is leading the anti-distribution center task force and decided today we're going to put some tear gas in here and make the whole operation stop? Who are they? You don't know. You don't know. So what you need to do is develop protocols not only to background test your employees prior to hiring them, but also do annual testing as well to make sure that they're on the same wavelength. But when you allow someone in and they've gone through all the protocols that you think are good, then you are left with the possibility that they may have bad intentions when they come in. So have a policy ready to be able to send your security department officers to that location and stop that from occurring, or to react to this that they've discovered on their own. Maybe a driver is injured at a loading dock outside, no one's around. He's in slot 11, but he slumped over the wheel of his car because he had a cardiac arrest or has some type of problem. There's where your security guys or girls going to find that. What if they're doing inside patrols? They look over and someone's been injured in a machine, a forklift or something hurt them. They're going to be able to flip the switch and get EMS and get help to that person. What if someone's having a cardiac arrest? They're trained in AED, CPR. They're going to be a valuable asset to you at that point. So I think that keeping that continuity of movement. That's what distribution centers are. They are movement. They are a dynamic environment that is constantly moving in, around, out, in, around, out. So that's a concern of mine, to have adequate, trained, smart security policy, cameras, access controls, trained, experienced employees working there. So it's a big challenge. You know, if your normal workforce for 2 shifts or 3 is 200 people, and now here comes Christmas, and now you've got 800 people, how did you screen and train and process those 600 other ones that are seasonal? Are they stealing from you? How would you know? So it's a tough thing, and we like challenges like this. Bring it to us and let us help you.